Hey guys, thanks for watching again. I'm Lucina Singer. My friends call me Layla. So this is the second part of the video that I started making when I came out here. My purpose today was to test out using my GoPro to film, and the battery died as I thought it would, so this is the second video for that. If you're seeing this, it means that I was unable to integrate the two videos. Anyway, if you're new to my channel, please check out my intro video. I linked it below so that you can kind of get an idea of what what I'm trying to do with this channel, and give my rambling some context so that you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. Anyway, so I am out at this absolutely gorgeous spot out here. This is one of my favorite spots in the world. Out on the Appalachian Trail. Let me see if I can focus on that for you. There you go. So you can see how pretty that is out there. Look at that. I can't turn the front-facing camera around so you can see it with a better shot without breaking my feed, and I have no confidence necessarily that I'm gonna be able to edit it. So for now, we'll just stick with this. I'll bring you guys out here some other time too, so you can see it. Isn't it gorgeous? That's my hometown out there. Let me see. I'm trying to get. Oop, well, that didn't work. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? I love coming out here. Sorry, I'm all sweaty. I ran most of the way out here. That's what I do. Anyway, so I really wanted to share this spot with you, especially around sunset, because it's just absolutely beautiful out here. So let me kind of have a sit-seat here. And in keeping with the theme, I kind of had, wanted to share with you, why this is kind of significant to me. So, I said that, lighting right here. This is not good. There we go. So a big part of what I'm trying to do with this channel is share with you guys how I, got out of, my sort of hole of suicidal depression. And I apologize if this gets kind of rambly, because I did make some notes and I had intended to use them, but they are in my phone because I was going to use the GoPro. So this is all just kind of off the top of my head. But anyway, so, like I said in my intro video, back in back in 2009, I had a nervous breakdown and I was hospitalized, and that was in August of 2009. So I turned 30 2 months after that. I turned 30. My birthday's in October. And I wanted to start again. Like I wanted that to be kind of like a 30 is the new 20 kind of thing, right? But it didn't take, because nothing really changed in my life. Like they put me on medication, but I'll go into that later and why I'm not really a fan of medication unless it's an absolute emergency. Like I'm gonna say that right now, if you're in an emergency situation where you are a danger to your own life or a danger to your, close relationships, your job, things like that, absolutely get on medication, because it can stabilize you enough to not do anything majorly stupid, or dangerous. But in general, for your recovery, for your journey, I'm not a fan of it. And I'll go into, some other things you can do to supplement a medication routine later, or even replace it entirely, if that's what you and your doctor feel like is best. Anyway, so nothing really changed. The 30 is the new 20 didn't take. And late 2011, early 2012, I found myself at the, basically at the bottom. And getting on medication helped to stop the suicidal ideations, so that was good, but it did not, it didn't give me any will to live, so I slept all of my free time. I got up in the morning just in time to get ready to go to work, and then I came home and I ate and I went right back to bed, 12, 13 hours a day. And I did that for months, and it really just, it kind of eventually got to the point where I was like, well, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? What is my plan? I finally was able to kind of get to a point where I said to myself, you know, there was a voice in my head that was kind of, you know, a little bit smarter than I was, I guess. You know, maybe you can, you know, if you're a believer, you can say it was God, or you know, maybe it was just me. But finally said to me, "What are you doing? You know, you've decided that you're not going to commit suicide. Are you going to live or not? You know?" And, you know, like, it just kind of, like, it was, I don't want to say it was a sudden thing, because it wasn't, you know, like 1 minute of a day, you know, kind of thing. It was kind of a slow creeping in of how long am I going to do this? But there was definitely a point in time where, you know, that voice in my head was kind of like, listen, if you're going to die, do it. But if you're not, you got to get up. Get the fuck up, you know? Just because there was just no other options, you know? What was I going to do? You know, just spend the rest of my life like this, you know, not living or dying, neither one, you know? So yeah, so finally I was like, okay, I guess I got to get up. So, you know, I got up and I just started trying to do anything, just anything that might be enjoyable. I enjoyed nothing, literally nothing at that point in my life. There was absolutely nothing that used to bring me joy that could do anything to touch it. You know, I couldn't, you know, everything was bland and dry and hopeless. So I started watching TV. You know, doesn't sound very healthy, but it was something that maybe could give me something to enjoy. You know, with my husband. My husband and I also started playing, you know, or not playing, started doing puzzles, you know, just something. You know, I was never really into puzzles. You know, I had done them when I was a kid, and they were fine. You know, they were fun, so okay. But, you know, they were easy. They were cheap. You know, we didn't have a lot of money. So, you know, we did that. And, you know, I mean, it wasn't like, you know, fireworks going off or anything, but it was something. At the time, you know, we found some bikes next to the dumpster that was on the property that we were managing at the time. And they still worked. I mean, they were junkers, but we didn't know enough about bikes to really know how bad they were. So we were like, you know, they're free bikes. Let's decide if we like riding bikes, you know, when we don't have the money to buy them. You know, and that way, if we know we like riding bikes, we can save up the money to buy real bikes. And we did, and that's a whole nother story. Now we're like, you know, mountain biking freaks. You know, we live in an area where we can mountain bike all the time, and we love it. So, but anyway, but that was a slow process, really slow. Like, at first we were just riding around the industrial park that we lived in, and you know, that actually had the biggest impact, though. That was what really kind of stuck with me. That was a physical thing, you know, and the more we did that, you know, like, the more I started to actually feel something that started to feel like maybe it felt good, you know. I also had been taking belly dance lessons within the past couple years, and so I started those again. I had stopped practicing completely because I was just so done, so I started practicing again. And I had always been kind of scared to practice before, as ridiculous as that sounds, but, you know, I'm you know, I got a fear of failure, so I would hit a point with my practice where I would be like, you know, I would start to feel anxious. I would start to feel like, okay, that's enough, I should stop now, you know, like, before I screw it up, you know, or whatever. You know, none of that was reasoned out, it was just a feeling. So I decided to push through that. I decided to push and go, no, I need to do something physical, you know, to start, you know, getting in some kind of decent shape, because all I did was sleep for so long. You know, and belly dance is great for working those small muscles and you know, getting yourself in tune with your body. So I started doing that, and the more I pushed through that anxiety, the more I actually started to get kind of good at it, and that kind of freaked me out a bit, because I've never really been good at anything in my life, you know, at that point. So, you know, that started to get, you know, what started to feel like kind of exciting. Like, I mean, it was something I started looking forward to every day, you know, which was progress. You know, looking forward to anything at that point was just like, oh my goodness, you know. So between that and the bike rides, you know, there was that. And then we moved to Frederick in late 2012, and there's a lot of, you know, mountainous area around here, and I started hiking. And my husband and I both started hiking together, and again, still really out of shape. The simplest little hikes, like a 1/4 mile hike up a not too steep hill, was strenuous. You know, we were sweating and breathing and, you know, all that good stuff. And you know, he eventually stopped doing so much of that, you know, because he's got a bad knee. But I stuck with it, because I was like, this is really kind of, this is making me feel good. This is, you know, I knew I liked being outdoors, so I pushed myself to do it, because I was like, this is something I know I like. Even though I don't feel right now like I really like anything, I know that I love being outdoors. I always have. So that's something that maybe I can wake up, you know, I can rekindle that fire. I can throw some sparks on that. And it started to work. You know, I would force myself when I was on these hikes to notice things. I would force myself to notice, you know, a mushroom, you know, on the trail, or a, you know, a flower, or, you know, this really cool rock. I now collect rocks. I just bring rocks home. I have a lot of rocks at my house. You know, or like a bird, you know, like I really started focusing in on woodpeckers, you know, like, because they're kind of different, they're kind of unique, right? Like they don't sing. I mean, they do. They sound pretty ridiculous if you know what you're listening for. But most of the time when you hear them, you hear that pecking, you know, and it's like, you know, when they're hitting on a you know, the right kind of tree, it just echoes throughout the woods. And so I started focusing on that. I was like, you know, I would choose things to focus on and enjoy. I had to choose to enjoy them. You know, that's what they mean when they say, by the way, when they say fake it till you make it. I hope you can hear me. It's really windy out here, and I know the wind sometimes can muffle the microphone. Let me do that. Maybe that'll work. But I know a lot of times, you know, we hear fake it till you make it, and we go, that's bullshit. That doesn't work, you know. Well, faking something doesn't, you know. Like, you can't fake liking something that you don't like just because someone is telling you should like it. You can change what you like, and I'll make a video about that later, because I did that. I've changed a lot of things that I didn't used to like, but I you know, I knew were good for me, and you know, I actually changed my thinking, and now I love them. So I'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, but this was different. This was something I knew I liked. This was something that I knew you know, before my hitting my bottom, that I liked these things. And you know, I knew I could find joy in these little things, and I just knew I just had to retrain my brain, recondition my brain to see these things and hear these things. So I forced it, you know. I didn't fake it, you know. Fake it till you make it isn't about being fake. It's about being intentional, you know. So I was intentional about finding joy, about seeking out and finding and reaching down and picking up joy, not just walking past it on the trail, you know, and putting it somewhere where I could reach back in and grab it again when I needed it. You know, it's about being deliberate. You know, we tend to think that feelings and experiences are things that just happen to us, you know, so that's why we feel like a victim so easily when bad things happen to us, because we feel like, you know, the world is just happening on us and there's nothing we can do about it. Well, that's not true. You know, there's a lot that we have control over that we don't realize we have control over. And again, I'll go into that in another video. You know, you'd be amazed how much you have control over. And what you enjoy and whether you find joy in things is one of those things that you have control over. And I had to force it for a while. I had to be intentional about it for a while. You know, the first day that I pointed out, you know, this really cool looking thing I found on the trail, or this first time I heard a woodpecker, it didn't bring me nearly as much, you know, reactional joy as I was choosing to see, you know, it was a slow thing over time, because my brain, I changed the way my brain worked. My depression changed the way my brain worked, and it changed the way my brain reacted to stimulus. And I had to have faith that in forcing myself to be intentional about finding joy, that I would eventually reprogram it and rewire it. And biologically, physiologically, that is exactly what you're doing. Anatomically, that is what you're doing. You are rewiring your brain. You're re-engaging those connections. It's not metaphorical. I'll pull up another video about that, you know, make another video about that as well. And eventually it worked. It did slowly over time start to work. And now I'm a goofball. I'm ridiculous. I enjoy everything. I mean, like, you know, there's nothing so small I can't enjoy it. Nothing. I really hope you can hear me right now. So it works. Have faith. Stick with it. You know. You know, and I'm a firm believer in getting outside. I'm a firm believer in sunlight and fresh air. Our bodies are made for it. If you don't feel like you're an outdoors person, you don't have to get dirty. You don't have to get sweaty. You don't have to go camping. You don't have to do all this, you know, sort of extreme outdoorsy stuff. Just go for a walk around your neighborhood. You know, just get the sunlight and the fresh air in your lungs. Breathe. You know, like, people don't breathe enough. You know, you got to get more oxygen. I'll make a video about breathing also. But, you know, don't forget to breathe. Take deep breaths and get that fresh air in, and get that sunlight, and feel the wind on your skin. you know, that's actually a thing, that's a healing thing, that's not just how it makes you feel. You know, there's actual things going on there. You know, scientific stuff going on. Anyway, I feel like I'm probably doing the rambling thing that I apologized at the beginning of the video for doing. Anyway, so, you know, it did work for me eventually, and now, you know, because I chose to be intentional about it, and I chose to believe in the neuroplasticity of my brain to be able to be changed from a state of being just ready to die every day to being able to see the joy in every single little nook and cranny. You know, I stuck with it, and it happened. You know, I'm where I am now. So I hope that's helpful for some of you. You know, please, I want to challenge you to pick something. You know, I really believe in being physical. You know, whether it's outside or inside, you know, being physical is the first step. You know, if all you do is come home and sit on the couch, challenge yourself. I'm gonna challenge you right now to challenge yourself to pick one thing that you're gonna do. If it's not very strenuous, I suggest doing it every day. Like if you're just gonna go for a short walk, you know. Or if you're going to do, you know, whatever it is that's more than just sitting on your couch, do it every day. If you're going to try and push yourself, because I found that the harder I pushed myself, the better it made me feel, and it would even last for a couple days. Like if I broke a sweat, you know, and you know, some people don't sweat very much, but if I got myself to the point where I was breathing heavy, and, you know, they say that the heart rate zone that you want to be in is when you're breathing so much that you can still hold a conversation, but it's maybe a little difficult. So if you really want to push yourself and really want to feel some real results, push yourself to the point where you're, you know, for 20 minutes, you're maintaining, you know, a level of exertion where, you know, you're breathing heavy enough that you can still talk, but it's maybe not necessarily very easy to do. Do that for 20 minutes, and, you know, maybe do that every other day, you know, give yourself a day to rest in between. You know, work yourself up to doing it for longer than 20 minutes, or maybe work yourself up to doing it for 20 minutes every day, or maybe just doing it for 10 minutes every other day, or 5 minutes every other day. Really, anything more than nothing is a starting place, you know. I mean, you know, 5 minutes once a week, if that's where you start, fine, you know. Then once you've got that, you know, once you've done it 5 minutes one week, you know, the next week do it 5 minutes twice that week. You know, just really, I cannot overemphasize, there is no starting point too small. Find your place where you're comfortable starting. I don't care how small it is. You know, don't let anybody else tell you that was easy, that's nothing, you can do better than that. Don't let anyone else, don't even let yourself tell yourself that, you know. Do it, and then ask yourself, can I do better than that? And if the answer is yes, just do just a little better than that, you know. Seriously, 5 minutes once a month, you know, and then next month 10 minutes, and then the next month 15. You know, the progress is the goal, you know. Wherever you can start, that you can then make progress from. That's what I try and tell people. The place to start is a place that's comfortable enough where you can do a little more next time. That's your starting point, you know. So if you can't do 5 minutes worth of, you know, walking or whatever it is you're going to try and do, then do 2, you know. And if you can do 2, okay, cool, you know. Then next time, you know, try and do 3 or maybe 2.5. You know, anyway, you get the idea. You know, if you want, you know, if you want my feedback, hit me up. Say, hey, listen, here's where I'm thinking about starting. It feels ridiculously small to me. Is this too small? You know, should I try and push harder? I mean, I guarantee you my answer is going to be no. If that's where you want to start, you start there, you know, because it's all about finding something that you can start from, you know. If you've been sitting, you know, for years, sometimes your starting point is just standing up. Sometimes that's, you know, ridiculously hard, you know, just to use an analogy. Anyway, I think I've made my point. Please, if you do this, get in the comments below this video and tell me what you've done. Tell me what you've decided on if you haven't started it yet. Tell me what your starting point's going to be. And then come back and tell me how it's going for you, you know. And if you choose something that was a little too much for you to bite off on, and you fall, you fail, you know, if you want to call it that, you know, you stumble, that's fine. That's fine, you know. Don't judge yourself for that. You know, this is a process, you know. It took me years from where I was, because I was depressed as a kid too. Like 2011, 2012 was when I hit the bottom as an adult, but I was depressed as a kid. I've been depressed all my life, so I've had to kind of climb out of this thing, sort of twice, it was more of a longer process, because I was 215 pounds when I was 20 years old, or maybe 21. And, climbing out of that was a process. Getting to the shape that I'm in was a very long process. I mean, that's still a process, I'm still not where I want to be, 20 years later. So, it's not something that's just going to happen overnight, so you cannot judge yourself for not just jumping up and being successful. You can't. You absolutely cannot, If you're a trauma survivor, I don't remember whether I said this in this video or another one. If you're a trauma survivor, your brain is in survival mode 24/7. So, you cannot judge it for, having comfort zones that it's scared to push out of. You're going to have to push out of them. You will have no choice. That's the only way out of the hole, I think, an analogy that I made in another video is, that your survival voice is like a toddler that's inside a burning building, like their home is on fire, their house is on fire, and they're terrified because their safety is on fire, but it's their safety. They're scared to leave. They don't want to leave, and they just don't have the intellect to understand what's going on. So you got to talk to your survival voice, and you've got to say, hey, this is the only way out. I know it's scary. I'm scared too. It's okay to be scared, but this is the only way out. We got to go. We got to do it this way. Anyway, so I love you guys. I'm praying for you. I'm there with you in spirit. If you have any questions, any comments that anything you want me to discuss, please leave in the comment section. Anything you want me to discuss in the future on this channel, please shoot me a comment. And I will try to include it, because there's lots more coming. If you liked this, if this resonated with you, if this touched something with you, please, like, subscribe, and follow, the whole drill. And there'll be more coming your way. Anyway, take care, you guys. Love you. I'll see you in the road.